How can companies exploit social media for advertising purposes?
Well, that's a fairly large question. I can answer the question with regard to how we can do it in Chris Hansen. I'm sure that every company has its own unique challenges. The way we do it is that if you ask specifically about social advertising, I have enjoyed working with LinkedIn. LinkedIn provides me with a response ad product, which I then target to certain group members, to specific people with a specific educational background, even to people working for specific companies. And the beauty about this product is that once these ads are served to these people, whenever they log on to their profile or whenever they visit the groups that they're a member of, the ads are served, of course, to these people. And if they desire to click on one of these ads, they're then taken to the landing page in question for that ad. And before they do that, they are asked by LinkedIn if they would like to be contacted by this company that they're visiting. And that has generated quite a lot of leads for us, because once they press yes, and a lot of them do, I then receive an email with the full profile description of that particular prospect. I'm then able to pass that information on to our sales staff, which is a quite good link between digital advertising and a concrete sales follow-up. The only thing is that the quality of leads on LinkedIn, it does vary quite a lot. I get everything from people looking for employment to students to really high-ranking, high-potential prospects. So the scope or the quality of these leads it varies quite a lot.
So if you say you get, for instance, 10 LinkedIn leads, yes, we would like to be contacted by you. How many of those would then be high-quality leads?
25%.
25%.
Yeah, and the rest is, interesting people who may be, more interesting for us in the future. So we always follow up on these leads. We always make sure that either we, one of our sales guys, or one of our distributors do follow up on these leads, because we don't want it to be seen as arrogant people, of course. And we think we honor when people want to visit our website and look into what we do.
So early on, you talked about Google Adwords, and yes. I'm getting curious here. If you were to choose between, for instance, Google Adwords and LinkedIn advertising, what would you say would be the most efficient?
Well, you asked some difficult questions. I would never choose between the two, because they're two completely different animals. I mean, LinkedIn is a professional social media for business professionals, and Google AdWords, it is still a search engine. It's the most important search engine in the world, and it will probably stay so for a long time, but it's still a search engine. Because we're not doing anything on Google+, so when it comes to Google AdWords, it's primarily search. And it's important for us to be there on Google. I have a number of campaigns running on Google. But the problem is that it really has to be managed, because otherwise the spending will go out of control. A lot of people, they do use Google today for brand search. They are simply too bored to key in the website address in the URL line, so they simply use Google for brand search, and then they click on the link. So if you are up there with the wrong position in your Google search ads, you can end up paying for a lot of ads that you don't want to pay for. So I try to be very specific about the Google search ads, because it is expensive if you don't manage it right.
Going back to social media, you talked about LinkedIn and how about it can be really efficient in creating leads for you. You're also on Twitter and YouTube. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, YouTube is primarily meant not as a prospect engagement platform, but primarily, and I will admit that honestly, it's primarily meant as a video search engine optimization platform? Well, let me explain that. We do produce a number of videos, and I would like, of course, as many people as possible to see these videos globally. And since YouTube is owned by Google, Google assigns quite a high value to video content on YouTube, which is tagged correctly and which is, has a certain quality. So for the moment, I use primarily our animal health channel on YouTube as a traffic generator to the website, where I also have the videos, of course. So for the moment, it's not an independent engagement platform per se. It's more like a traffic generator. And the same thing goes with our Twitter account. We haven't yet come to the maturity level in our organization where we can assign certain people to maintain our Twitter channel, because it does require a lot of hands-on work with Twitter. It does require a lot of knowledge with Twitter to have some level of success. So we're not quite yet.
So if you have one bucket of money and you divide them into social media, you mentioned LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, how much would you spend on each?
Well, for the moment, the only thing I really spend money on with regard to social media is the LinkedIn response ads that I run. And these are not very costly because I don't consider Google social media. And the spending I incur currently on Google search ads is way higher than the LinkedIn response ads. I think the LinkedIn response ads are really a gem. It's something that most people overlook. And I would like to work much more with the different advertising opportunities that LinkedIn provides.
Interesting. And there's one really popular social media that you haven't mentioned. What's wrong with Facebook?
Well, if you ask me personally, I think Facebook is really disappearing. But that's, I don't consider Facebook a serious business-to-business media. I haven't even contemplated using Facebook for anything. I think the whole micro publishing platform, there's a new micro video publishing tool having a lot of success currently. I can't remember the name, but the whole micro publishing platform is probably gaining momentum because, people are overwhelmed by the number of stimuli that they receive every day, and I think for me, Facebook is a space which is primarily consumer oriented, and it's a chit chat forum for ordinary people, and it's great at that. It's not a business-to-business medium.
Looking ahead, regarding social media and digital advertising, what will be your next step?
Well, create more content. Content is really king or key to any marketing strategy. That has been the case for nearly 20 years I've worked with marketing, and it's no different today. But it's much more sort of revealing if you don't have any great content to offer. So we do work a lot with content in our company. Video content, downloadable content, but also interactive content like the series of ROI calculators I mentioned earlier. So create more content and more engaging content, and also maintain these channels better. What I'd really like to do in the future is to mobilize the sales force and the product managers to participate in the maintenance of our communication on the social channels. And that will be quite a challenge because some of these people are not used to working with social media at all. So I will have to teach them how to make status updates, how to upload content. But that will be a key to our success in this area because marketing is not a one-man thing in any company, and it should not be a one-man thing in our company either. So that is the challenge in the future. So more content, more engaging, more interactive content, and more videos.